So we are here today with Patrick Queally. He is the wicked awesome loan officer. If you guys aren't aware, we are located here in Massachusetts, so everything is wicked awesome. Patrick is just the most wicked. Um, Patrick, tell us a little bit about yourself and your business.
Sure. Well, yeah. So a number of years ago, I got that nickname, the Wicked Awesome Loan Officer, and you know how it goes. You never get to pick your own nickname. So someone had come out with that, and it just stuck, and that's the branding that I've been running with ever since. So big picture, I've been in the mortgage industry. This marks 30 years, believe it or not. So first 10 years or so, I was in the back office in operations. I was processing and underwriting and closing and post-closing loans, basically everything that goes on behind the scenes. And after, about 10 years of that, I was lucky enough to have the opportunity to transition to more of the front lines and be a loan officer. And for the past 20 years or so, I've been working with my clients on the front end, properly structuring their financing, using the information, the knowledge, and the skills that I gained in the back office. So, really, more than a pre-qual or a pre-approval, when I'm going through the client's documents and structuring financing options, I'm doing so with sort of the lens of an underwriter. What's going to be an issue? I'm not really looking for problems. I'm not trying to find problems, but part of what I have to do to ensure a smooth transaction for my clients is identify the hurdles that they're going to face and come up with a game plan to get through those. So again, 30 years in the business, 10 years in operations, 20 years in sales, and still chugging along here.
Wow. That's great. So tell us a little bit about how you got it started in networking, because you're a big networker. Um, Patrick and I actually network together a lot. He comes to my events, and I haven't had an opportunity to go to your events, but they look
We'll get you out
so
soon.
great.
So, so this may come as a shock to you, Carla, but I'm actually very much an introvert. The networking gigs aren't really my first nature. I'm not as outgoing or gregarious as it may appear. Quite often, going into a new networking gig, I'm sitting in the parking lot saying, what the hell am I doing here? I'm not going to know anybody here. This is a waste of time. I shouldn't go in, and sort of beat myself up and debate about whether or not to go in. But inevitably, I do go in, and I either meet up with some people I already know or have the opportunity to meet with some new people. So getting started in it, into networking, really, it sounds contradictory, but stems from me being somewhat of an introvert. So being in a sales role, it's all about going out and meeting people. And I was really uncomfortable with the idea of doing cold calls, literally calls on the phone, back in the day, 20, 30 years ago, going through the yellow pages and looking for someone to call. So I tried to put myself in a position where it was, I guess, maybe less cold, maybe cool outreach, cool introductions, and networking seemed to be the way to go. And slowly but surely, as I started attending more events, I got a little bit more comfortable with it and started attending more events and more events. And I mean, really, if you look into it, there's an organization and a group for any business interest or hobby. There's enough groups that you can go out and network every night of the week. And that's really how I started to build my book of business, is through networking organizations. And I found success there, and I stuck with it.
It's funny that you say that you're an introvert, because that's not all I've been hearing, but that's what a majority of people tell me, is that they're introverts. I myself am an introvert. Um, I was telling my friend earlier that my dream vacation is going to Mount Washington Resort by myself for an entire weekend. That's like my idea of fun, right? I'm wondering if that's because it's, we're thinking so much instead of expressing ourselves so much that it is so intentional. You have to take that intention and bring it out in front of somebody else. And also, I have like a little piece of paper I bring into the networking events with me so I can stay on track because I just get so overwhelmed in there because I'm usually just in my own head. So how do you find that it's built your business up? How does it impact your business?
So again, it's different than a cold call. You definitely get to know somebody. So when you're face to face, it's tougher for someone to hang up on you.
Mm.
Okay. So, so walking into a room, meeting people, and the thing is, other people are there for similar intentions. They're there to meet people. And sort of the spirit that I've sort of talked myself into out of my, introvert mode, without sounding pompous about it. So it's not trying to come off that way, but somebody in that room needs my help. Okay. And again, not to sound pompous about it, but I've been doing this a long time. I am a mortgage financing expert. There is somebody in that room that either needs my help directly or someone in that room knows somebody who needs my help. And I'm doing a disservice to the community that I work and I live in if I don't walk into that room and find that person that needs my help. Because if they don't get my help, maybe they're not going to resolve their problem that they have with financing, or maybe they're going to get taken advantage of by someone who is not as reputable. So I view it as a duty that I have to go in and I have to find the person that needs my help. And it's not, three card Monty or networking roulette. I'm not just going in there to try and collect as many business cards as I can. I actually, again, with the introvert nature of it, sometimes the larger meetings where there's 75, 100, 150 people, that really becomes intimidating for me because even though I'm there to try and offer my help and expertise, there's just no way I can connect and talk to 100 people in one night. Now, if it's a smaller organization and there's 20 or 30 people, well, yeah, chances are I'm going to get to talk to maybe not everybody, but the majority of the people in that room. And I've got a better chance at finding who in that room is the one that actually needs my help.
That's a great way to look at it. Um, because there are those super large events where there's 150 people plus, and then there are, the smaller events like the maybe sometimes between 10 and 40. And I find those ones to be much more intimate, where you can really actually get to know people and build those relationships.
Exactly. Those larger meetings, so not to knock them, not to discount them, they serve their purpose. But I find in those larger meetings, again, I'm a little bit intimidated and I tend to flock to the handful of people that I already know that's in that room, as opposed to going around and meeting new people because it's, I don't know, quote unquote, safer to stick with the 3 or 4 or 5 people that I already know. But really, the whole intention of going there is to meet new people. So with a smaller group, it is easier to meet a handful of new people and actually have a conversation with them rather than, hi, my name is Patrick. This is what I do. What's your name? What do you do? Okay, next. It's not a
Hmm.
speed dating or speed networking, although there are some organizations that run some meetings or the beginning or the end of a meeting like that, and that's fine. But when you have, 100, 150 people in a room, it's really difficult to try to get to know more than 1 or 2 people. I find again in that smaller group, it's just a whole heck of a lot easier to sort of make the rounds and have a couple of meaningful conversations with different people.
I I absolutely agree. And when I mentioned that little piece of paper that I bring in with me, That's what I bring that piece of paper into the very large networking events, and I do fall into I call it the trap. When I walk in and when I do get overwhelmed, I see my friends and I'm like, I need to go say hi to my friends, but I have to remind myself, don't stay with my friends all night, go and meet new people and you can't develop a relationship while you're there because it's loud. There's too many people trying to talk to everybody. And you have to foster those relationships outside. So it's kind of, you have to use your time wisely while you're there.
Yeah, yeah. And again, walking in with sort of that spirit of giving rather than taking,
Hmm.
is that somebody in that room needs my help. I'm here to give help and assistance. I'm not just walking in to say, okay, how much business can I get out of this room? Now, there are people that walk in with that kind of attitude, and that's fine, but that's just not how I roll. Okay.
Right.
I'm going to help people, offer my help and my assistance. And if that results in business coming my way, well, then great. But it's more a spirit of giving than rather
Hmm.
than taking. And I find when I walk into a room full of unknowns, with that kind of a mental attitude, it's easier to settle in and meet new people and find that person that does need the help.
That's some great advice. Just to add as much, well, you're saying giving, and there's the giver's gain, and then there's the adding value. People say it all different ways, but you're absolutely right. It's, the best way to create a relationship is to be beneficial and be genuine and try to
I
help
heard
them.
I heard somebody use the analogy before. It's like radiators and drains. So you've been around probably as long as I have. You remember the big old cast iron radiators, okay, for the
I
steam,
have
okay?
some.
Steam heat, okay. So people are either radiators or drains. So the radiators are giving off heat, so you're giving off all the help and assistance, or you're the drain that's draining away the condensation, the water that's coming out of those steam radiators. So walk into that room and try to be the radiator, not the drain.
That's a great analogy. I love that. Now, a few weeks ago, you had mentioned that, we've been talking about open networking, where you walk into a networking event. Now, you have some experience in business to business or referral networking. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
So do you mean like the formal networking organizations?
Yes.
So I've been involved in several throughout the years. I think probably the most commonly known out there is BNI, Business Networking International. So I've been involved in BNI chapters throughout the years. Have been great for my career. You're in a group of like-minded business professionals that are really coming in with the giver's gain mentality. Those organizations are there specifically to help each other grow and to essentially pass referrals, to give referrals to each other, to help other local small businesses not just survive but thrive in any business environment. So those are definitely uh, much more structured, as opposed to sort of the casual meetup meeting that may be out there. Um, so those definitely do help and provide results for somebody that is looking for that structure and sort of a guided approach, literally a step-by-step guide onto how to on how to network with other professionals in the right way and to give as well as receive. An organization like BNI is top notch and probably the one of the best places to start.
Okay, that's interesting. Um, I did it backwards, and I am seeing a lot of value there that I was pleasantly surprised with.
Yeah. And
Um,
the one qualifier that I'll give there is it really depends on the BNI chapter of the group that you're with. So the value of the group is really in the other members. Okay. So
Mm,
if you're in sort of the real estate sphere and you don't get along with the attorney or the real estate agent or the lender or whoever, the other professionals in that sphere, it can be a difficult time. But when you do get into a group that does have some synergy there and you do get along with the people, it can be a fantastic way to grow your business. you know
wonderful.
so I guess the moral of the story is, if you don't find that it's a fit, well, look for a different group or even start your own. Sure, it takes some work and some time and effort, but in my experience, it's well worth it.
Yeah, there's definitely a need to have synergy with the other people in the group in order for everything to function properly and for you guys to grow together, because that's what you're doing. You're not growing individually, you're all growing together.
For sure. Yep.
Now, I don't really ask a whole lot of other people this question, but because you are so
Uh-oh.
great at it,
Uh-oh.
um, tell us a little bit about how you network on social media, because um, your content is um, entertaining. You know, you're just drawn to it.
Well, I take that as a compliment, and yes, that's definitely the intention. So, quite a number of years ago, uh, got heavily involved with social media as a means to organically grow your business. And what I mean by that is, it's the exact opposite of paid advertising. Now, I understand the paid advertising side of it. I've dabbled in it. I've done it. I know what it is. I'm not anti paid advertising, but uh, one of the examples as to why I, I don't want to see someone put all their eggs in that basket. So a number of years ago, uh, Zuckerberg was on Capitol Hill, and there were all sorts of questions in terms of targeted advertising for real estate, and it was disparate impact. So by advertising a particular property to one set of demographics, just by default you were excluding another set of demographics. And while it wasn't the intention, the result is that that could be viewed as being discriminatory. Okay, so right off the bat, get it out there. I am not in favor of discriminating against anybody. And, I truly believe that's not the intention with these types of ads. But as the advertising requirements changed as a result of Zuckerberg's trip to Capitol Hill, targeted real estate ads changed dramatically. Okay. And you could no longer target the way that you used to. So that's just a prime example as to why I'm more in favor of organically growing your business rather than through paid ads, because a platform like Facebook, like Meta, they can change the rules on a whim. And if your entire business is based on that paid advertising model, you could be out of business in the morning if they decide to change the rules on you. So that's the sort of the basic foundational reason why against paid advertising and prefer organic lead generation. So the way the organic lead generation works, the basic principle is, think of your and Facebook is where I predominantly do my social media. I know there are other sites out there, but talking about Facebook specifically, um, your Facebook wall, your Facebook timeline, think of it like a TV show. Okay. And if all you're posting, so Carl, we'll use real estate as an example. Okay. So
Mhm.
if you're a real estate agent and all you're posting is listing after listing after listing and showings and all business, all real estate, real estate, real estate. Well, eventually people are going to tune you out. That's simply commercial after commercial after commercial. Now, QVC has its place. Okay. And people will tune in for commercials, but if it's just commercial after commercial after commercial nonstop, people will tune you out. So the way to look at it is more like a TV show, TV program. You want to put out pieces of content to engage and entertain your audience in a similar ratio to a TV program, where you want to have 4 or 5 pieces of content to engage and entertain your audience for every one piece of content that is a business post. Okay. So for every real estate and mortgage related post I put out, I want to make sure I've got 4 or 5, usually humorous, entertaining posts that go up, before that. And my life is really not as interesting as it may look on Facebook, but I do curate content from a bunch of different sources. I have a swipe file, and every so often, if it's not current events, dip into that swipe file for something that's funny, engaging, entertaining. And the way that the Facebook algorithm works is when a user on that platform engages with the humorous posts, the comedy, okay, the wacky stuff that I post, when they engage with that, the way the algorithm works by default, when I post the business post, they're also going to see the business post. Now, people are not going to engage as much with the business post. So it's sort of like the comedy, the humorous posts are sort of the bait. Okay.
Mhm.
I'm baiting them into engaging with that so that when I deliver the business post to remind everybody that I am a wicked awesome loan officer, that they're going to see that business post because they engaged with the comedy post. So I understand how the algorithm works, and I'm using it to my advantage. So I don't want to say that I'm tricking people into seeing my business posts, but I'm just manipulating the algorithm in the way that I know that it works, and it does work. So I've taught classes on the subject for a long time. Just the intro class to organic marketing, the intro class alone is a 2-hour class, and there's a series of hour-long classes on that, various different subtopics after that. But it it's real, and it does work.
And it's getting you noticed, getting your business noticed.
Absolutely. Yep. Yep. I mean, to the
That's
point
great.
where once you reach a certain following, um, you can get tagged and create your profile as a digital creator. And believe it or not, rather than paying for advertising, Facebook will pay you to be a content creator. Now, by no means am I, the viral hundreds of thousands, millions of views, but I am posting content. I do it consistently. I do get a decent amount of engagement, and I do get a check from Facebook every month for that activity.
That's wonderful.
Now,
Talk about
not much to write.
residual income.
Yeah, it's not much to write home about, but it's definitely something. And it's constantly sort of tweaking and experimenting to see what's going to work and what's not, because it's not just one written set of rules, similar to the advertising rules. The algorithm is constantly changing, so you have to keep up with it. You have to keep mixing it up and trying and experimenting, and what worked 3 4 months ago is not going to work today. So for a long time, Facebook wanted the long form text posts. So rather than just the 2 or 3 sentences that appear in in the text box, a little see more, and you have to drop it down to see a couple of paragraphs of content. For a long time, Facebook was promoting that as the type of post they want. For a long time now, it's been video, because if you're not aware, Facebook is very much in a battle with YouTube over video content. So they want more videos, in particular live videos. So again, we're going down a whole different rabbit hole, but networking digitally through platforms like Facebook can also bring success. You just have to be disciplined enough not to take yourself down that rabbit hole. And next thing you're staring at rabbit videos at 3 a.m. You could spend so much time just wasting time on nonsense there. So you also have to be disciplined and sort of treat it like a networking event. If the networking event lasts an hour, well, you can't just hang around after they close the doors. You're there for an hour to do what you got to do and meet people. So treat your social networking digitally in the same fashion. Set some time limits.
That's some great advice. Well, thank you so much, Patrick, for sharing your wisdom and your story. Um, do you, I mean, you guys should look up Wicked Awesome Loan Officer on Facebook. His content is great and it'll add just like a little bit of cheer to your day.
Yeah, the only thing I'll ask is, help me with that, engagement. The more people that engage with the post, the more that post is served up to other people. So if you do find
Mhm.
some humor, if I do make you laugh, definitely, click that button, give me a thumbs up or a laugh, and it does help.
Yeah, yeah. Well, thank you so much, Patrick. And yeah,
All right. Thank you, Carla. Pleasure being here
thank
with you.
you. You too.